So now let's have a look how we're going to do our 3-point lighting. Here we have our key light, here we have our actual camera, there we have our fill light, and there we have our backlight. So first of all, we're going to set in our key light. Now the key light for this simple setup is going to be 45 degrees round from our subject and 45 degrees up from our subject. And if you're conducting an interview, this is also the same side, and you should place your interviewer. So let's have a look about setting our key light first of all. So turn it on and adjust the brightness until you are satisfied that the level of the light is correct for the exposure you want on your main camera. So now you're going to look at our fill light. Now the fill light needs to be ideally half as bright as our key light. And to make it feel a little bit softer, it's quite a good idea to put some diffuser over our light source. You have different types of diffuser. I have a piece of spun and a piece of F1, which is much more dense diffuser. I personally quite like the spun, so I'm going to put a little bit of the spun, clip it over the top with a crop clip over my light here, just to make it a bit softer. I'm going to turn it on and adjust it, just so that it is looking quite nice, just filling the shadows quite nicely. And there we have our fill light, simply and quickly done, to fill the shadows. So now we're going to set the backlight. And the backlight is really a very important light, because we're only working in 2D. We have width and height, we haven't got any depth. And the backlight really gives us that feeling of depth by bringing our subject out from the background and giving us a feeling of 3D. So I'm going to set our backlight, and it needs to be 45 degrees higher above the person's head, about 45 degrees, and ideally the same brightness as our key light. So our key light and backlight need to be a 1-to-1 in terms of brightness. So our backlight and key light are 1-to-1, and our fill light needs to be approximately half as bright as our key light and backlight. So adjust it so that the backlight just lights the hair and the shoulders to really bring out our subject from the background. It's also very important that you use the barn doors just to get the backlight just on the person, avoiding any flares you may get in the camera if you haven't got your backlight adjusted properly. And because it's quite important also that you may want to get the lighting stand out of shot, you want to bring it round to one side of our person. And if that's the case, you bring it to the other side to our key light. So our key light and backlight are on opposite side to our subject. And now let's have a look at our camera to see how it's looking, and we'll turn off our studio lights to see how it looks like properly without our studio lights on.